Welcome to the Heal Yourself podcast, where we dive deep into all things healing. I'm Denise, a speech language pathologist and a self-love coach for adults and teens.
And I'm Kira, a traditional naturopath and functional nutritionist, and we're here to guide you through the transformative process of healing your body, mind, and soul.
From the latest in functional medicine to nurturing your relationship with yourself, healing trauma, and even transforming your money story, we're here to empower you with the knowledge and tools to create lasting change.
So whether you're looking to heal physically, emotionally, or spiritually, join us as we explore the many paths to wholeness and wellness. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Heal Yourself podcast. Today, Denise and I are here with Jenny McFadden. So let me introduce who she is, and then I'll let her tell you guys about herself. So Jenny helps heart-led people develop trust in their intuition, use it to decode the messages hidden within their symptoms, and receive practical steps to restore well-being, vitality, and happiness. She invites people to move into a space of curiosity and play to discover how easy it is to receive clear and accurate intuitive guidance to help make empowered decisions, activate inner healing, and live in alignment with our purpose. Jenny has seen extraordinary changes happen in an instant when we work at the quantum level. And the more we listen within, the more we remember who we truly are, limitless and powerful beings. Amen to that. Far more than just a physical body. She's an intuition mentor, quantum healing facilitator, artist, and 3-time best-selling author, her most recent being The Game of Intuition and How to Play It. With a career of more than 30 years dedicated to whole person health, she blends quantum, intuitive healing, psychology, energy medicine, and I can't ever say it, Qigong. Thank you. Into a uniquely powerful approach to healing. I butcher it every time I try to say it. So, Jenny, welcome. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
We
I'm
sure
excited.
are.
I'm excited to be here. Seriously. Thank you.
Yeah.
Where do we
Well,
start?
we usually start by asking a very similar question. What led you to this place in your life?
Well, it was not because I was guided here knowingly. I was not brought up, or no, I was definitely not one that's been. There's a lot of people who say, "Oh my God, I was really like intuitive from the day I was born," and I had it. I'm like, nope, that was not me. I was like the practical one, the rational. I, was more interested in art. I went to uni and I did art and psychology, and I became a teacher, an art teacher. So, and it was like, but it was only through experiences that I had of my own, health challenges mainly, that I then started to look for other things. Like, the mainstream didn't have an answer, didn't have answers. So in my 20s, I was overseas, doing the backpacking tour thing with my husband, and ended up in the south of Italy, which is where he's from. And it was, I couldn't stand up. I was completely dizzy, couldn't talk. They gave me drugs. I didn't know what they were. I didn't speak Italian. It was terrible. Flew back, you've got your travel insurance. I used that to come home. Went to hospital here. They didn't know what was wrong with me. Long story short, they didn't know. I went to an osteopath who said, "You've got a neck injury." And I had all these, tests with this and that and all this stuff. So it was a real wake up call in terms of like, wow, mainstream is not really helping me. And it was the first step that I'd taken because my mum had had a back problem and she'd been seeing this guy. And it was the first step I took into what we would call now, like alternative medicine. And that was 40 years ago. Anyway, but from there, it's been a similar thing. I ended up, like when I got married, I had that feeling of like, should I don't know, like, and I ignored it. I didn't know. I didn't know. And that was when that trip happened, that the result of that was I left. And if I had known before, if I had listened, um, if I knew how to interpret what my body was telling me, if I'd had that, I probably, maybe we would still be together, but I don't know. Anyway, I guess it's part of the path, right? It's part of the things that happen are the things that guide us to what comes next. And that was like the wake up call of you're not on track. This is not where you're meant to be. You're meant to be doing something else. Anyway, one thing led to another. And I get here because bit by bit, I've been working with people in all kinds of ways. And eventually I started to ask questions about what happens, because my background is psychology. So that's very much talking and understanding how, where behavior comes from, like our thoughts and feelings, all that stuff. But then I started to ask, well, what about the unconscious? And then I started to ask, well, what about energy? And that was because of my son. When he was little, he had eczema. I took him to the doctor, back and forth, didn't help. Eventually, I said, if I take him this time and they tell me the same thing, I'm taking him to a kinesiologist. Because someone had told me about that. Sure enough, I ended up taking him to a kinesiologist. She did muscle testing through, on me for him, and gluten was a problem. Gluten came up. You used to have muscle testing gluten. I went, okay. So I went home. 2 days later, completely different kid.
Wow.
He's got energy. I'm like, what the? I have to know how to do this. So in my 40s, I went back and thought, go back to school in my 40s and went back and I learned kinesiology. And from there, or every other, it opened up the whole world for me I started to realize when I work with people, the world of energy medicine, of realizing I knew much more when I would work with someone than what they were telling me, but I didn't know how I knew that, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I started to do some quantum stuff then, which was more like a hands-off type of healing thing. It's not that so much now; it's much more developed than that now. But that's how I got here. Here I am going, how did this rational person, skeptic? I remember in my younger years, when I was really young, a friend of mine's brother was really into what's that called? I can't think. Anyway, it's a kind of healing. I just went, you got to be kidding. That's ridiculous. You know. Anyway, how did I get here and how did I end up? So I'm still the grounded person. I'm still this grounded, practical person. So I'm like connected and grounded. So and that's what I like to bring because to me, when we really can be effective listening in, we need to be both.
Agreed.
Wow, I love all that. I love it. Kinesiology. I should probably do that too. Anyway, people often say that symptoms carry messages, and I know we've talked about it before. Can you share how we can actually begin to unlock and understand those messages in a practical way? I love how you bring practicality and you keep talking about it.
Mm.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking me that because I know I've listened to you talk and I know how many ways you've already talked about. This is like such a strong message that both of you bring to the world as well. And it's really important.
This is such a
And
good question, though, because honestly, sorry, we interrupt each other, but
that's okay.
this is a question I'm asked all the time by clients. Like, I don't understand how to listen to my body. So, like, this is going to be so important. Okay, I'll shut
Okay,
up.
great. Yeah. Awesome. Because this is really what I do. So my approach is one, we need to use our intuition. All right. So there's a lot of things we can know from our head, but our intuitive mind, our intuitive intelligence knows far more because really we're like accessing everything that's in our field, every experience we've had. Like it remembers, there are frequencies, they're all around us and they're all part of our field. And our intuition is the way that we can get really actually specific information. And it's like a conversation. This is the thing I think that where I really want people to know that when I ask people, what's your intuition? They'll often say, they talk about their gut. Absolutely. And it's so much more. It's so much more. You can get so much information. And so this is why I develop games, like intuition games, so that we can practice because the practice is important. You can't learn piano by watching someone play. So we've got to practice. We've got to play. And so what I did is I put these into games so that we can approach it from a light and sort of curious, playful perspective. Because otherwise what happens is with most people they go, oh gosh, like it's performance anxiety. Can I get the message? I don't know if it's right, all this sort of stuff. And so the way to get around that is to start to take an approach that's more playful. Like, when you're a kid, you remember. It's like when you're playing a game, you don't care. You just go, oh yeah, like this is good. Remember that? That's the feeling that you want to go in with. So that's like the number one. It's really key thing. And be curious. It's like, oh, I wonder. Like as soon as you get trapped in your head about something, just go, I wonder, and your energy expands immediately. Like do that now. Think, I wonder, and you'll notice your whole energy just expands out. And that's a really important point for like you're trying to tune in and you're going, oh, and you're getting stuck in the head again. Just go, oh, I wonder, and then oh yeah, it changes your energy. So for example, what I did was I've got like games that I use, and I'll give you an example. So one of them is intuition message bank. So let's say let's say you've got a pain, you've got something going on. Let's play intuition message bank. So first we would tune in. So I can show you a really simple way to do that. And I've used lots of ways to tune in because often that's a question. Like you can use meditation, you can use other, but you can actually do it quite simply and check that you're actually tuned in too, like in a simple way. Make sure, because that's often people go, well, I don't know if I was, am I actually tuned in? Um, and what I use is actually a simple number line. How's that for being simple? You use your eyes, your eyes are the windows to your soul. So you can actually just use a number line. Who knew, right? Simple as. And then we play intuition message bank. And what that is once you're tuned in and you're like, I'm 100% here, you ask, how many messages are there about this? It's like on your phone, right? You go, how many messages? Oh, I've got messages. Right. How many? Oh, three. And then I'll proceed to take you through, and what are they? One by one. Because here's the thing about intuition. When you're really tuned into your intuition, it will give you really simple answers. Like if I say, what's message number one about? I did it this morning. My heart was going bit, 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 you know. I get a bit excited. I was like, how it's going. So, how many messages? 7. What was the first one? Water. I was like, oh, what about the water? Right? This is like it's a conversation. It's not you don't. Your body will tell you the most simple things that it actually needs. You might not know why. And so I said, water. How much water? It's like you need 5 more big glasses. Like got these big ones here of that on top of everything else you normally have today.
And
I'm like,
that's usually the first answer, right? Instead of going really analytical. Is that what
yeah,
that's what you mean, right? Yes.
you just be open to the answer, whatever comes. So we were doing like um, endometriosis. What came? Cut down gluten. Who like you don't know what the answer is you're going to get, but your body knows exactly what it needs and doesn't need.
And I
And
have,
so,
and sorry, you
yeah,
may touch on this, but I have a question because I know what's going to come from people. There are many that get in their heads, right? And they're like, okay, but I'm thinking it through. I'm thinking it through. That is not helpful. How can they get out of their heads to tap into the intuition and trust that answer that comes?
yeah. So, like I was saying, once you tune in, you are actually tapped in. If you then find yourself going back in your head or it's not coming to me, you know what the number one thing is? Drink water, right? And water is not just water. Water is energy. We know about messages in water. We know that water holds energy. It also is about the flow in an energetic sense. And it's also about hydration. Like it's about so many things. So water is one way to do that. Another way to do that is stop and take a couple of deep breaths. Like it's actually really simple. And if you've got a number line, so I'll tell you this in words. I haven't got it, imagine you had a number line in front of you, right? And you can write this out. And you'll find this in my freebie as well. It's really simple. So put a number line, write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Close your eyes. And then when you want to check, am I tuned in? What we want is 10 out of 10 here. So you close your eyes, you set your intention that the windows are the way that you're bringing your soul, answers through. Close your eyes, you set your intention, you open your eyes and let your eyes gently scan up and down until they lock on a number. If they lock on 10, you're ready to go. That's how you know, right? You've got to practice. It's still the same thing. It's like at first you go, did I get that right? You probably do it 10 times in a row just to be sure I got it right, right? Okay. Well, at some point, you've got to learn to trust yourself. At some point, you've got to go, okay,
Right. Yeah, and that what
attentively.
we always talk about exactly. And then it's practice. It's committing to doing it on the daily, and also not having like, I know, you know what, you know, when you said that, like, I know that sometimes like people like get into their head. But honestly, if you are really looking for healing and for a different, remember, we talked about it many times, for a different reality, then something has got to change. We cannot create a new reality or new experiences with the old thinking and the old habits, right? So really, don't get into your head and get into the number line and
Yep.
commit to that change. You know what I mean? Like, and again, we are very real on this podcast, because, and I'm also real with myself. I even recorded a TikTok about it. I haven't posted it yet, Kira, but I'll show you. Like today, I even woke up with this message today, and I took it that it's coming from my intuition, that you are continuing to experience the same experiences, the same emotions, because you are stuck on those emotions. You're having the same conversation with the same two people on a daily basis about the same topic. Hence, you are creating those emotions again and again. Hence, you're creating those experiences again and again. And if you want to change that, you gotta change who you're talking to and what you're talking about. You can you can still continue talking to these people. I don't want them in my life, but talk about something different.
Yep. And I agree. And so what I would say as well, like spot on. Someone will say, well, how do I do it? How you do it is practice in a playful way. Because, like, sometimes when you're really stuck like that, it's hard to find the way out unless you've got someone else to talk, like that can be difficult. So it's like, what if I give you a game to play, right? So that you can change your energy. Because also, you can always change how you feel by changing what you think, right? We know that, right? That the two things are like so connected. Um, but if you're finding that difficult, another way to do that is go play an intuition game. Like, go, all right, so what do I need to do here? Because your body, your intuition might come up with an answer you don't expect. Like it might come up with, uh, you know, go sing a song. What's your favorite song? It'll come up with something that'll shift your frequency enough that in a way that you didn't expect, that will allow you to then change the way you think. Because it shifts, like you said, it shifts your energy. So it shifts how you are, and then it shifts obviously how other people can show up too. That's what's inside's outside. So, and that's the whole point of working with our bodies in this way as well, is so that when if my body can help me shift whatever is going on in really simple, easy ways that I didn't even think were possible, it could do it that easily, uh, then I've got more of an opportunity to to choose to be different, to do different, shift my own frequency, help my body heal itself, but also in the bigger picture. And I know you're like, oh, it's like what's inside's outside, and I think that's so important right now in the world. It's so important right now. We are seeing so much division. We are seeing so much black and white. We're seeing so much this, judgment. And that's also got to be coming from with us in some way too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that in a blaming way. I mean it in a recognition that I look outside and go, okay, so this is what I'm noticing. And what I'm noticing is a message to myself to go, okay, where's that within you? We've all had judgment, right? We've all done that at some point in some way, of ourselves, even. So it's like, okay, I'm paying attention.
Mm, yeah, that's a good message for right now. Um, I want to go somewhere with the creativity because we've chatted about this. Creativity is huge to me, and I've realized it plays a role in healing, and not just the creativity, but the play, like you said, the joy. Like so many people that deal with ongoing health challenges, chronic health issues, whatever we want to label them as, have lost that. They don't know how to get to that place. So is this where art comes in for you? Like I know you tie it in, but what does art mean to you? Is that creativity? Like give me more.
To me, creativity and intuition are the same thing. It's exactly the same flow of energy. When I'm creating, I can feel I'm in the same place. Like it feels the same to me. And I often will start by asking who wants to come through. So I actually do work in a sort of very energetic way, although some of my work looks realistic. It doesn't actually start out that way. Often we'll ask someone, and it doesn't matter where you are, how you're feeling, you can always tune in. You can always, you know, talk to your divine connections. You invite someone in. Who wants to come in? Like one time, Archangel Raphael comes in. I'm like, okay, cool.
We have
Another time,
Michelangelo here.
Michael, cool. It's like, everybody is available. Everyone's available. Someone will step forward. It's no different than when you tune in intuition and you say, well, who am I working with today? That's my divine connection. God, the universe, it could be someone you know, someone you don't know. And they are all within us. They're all part of us. So they're not separate. So for me, creativity, like you can start one way or the other. Sometimes starting with creativity helps the energy flow. It helps you begin to move your energy in a way if you can't get it moving in other ways. If you're feeling stuck, if you're not feeling not well, sometimes just starting out with, and you don't have to do anything, you have to make something, it doesn't have to look like something. Just get your crayons out, just get your stuff out and just like make colors and, just enjoy yourself. That in itself lifts your energy. So for me, creativity, it's an intuition are almost like they're the same flow of energy. And whether you start from intuition and you call someone in, and I often will get a feeling, and then I go, "What color are you?" And they go, "Oh no, I actually choose the colors intuitively. Like I'll start with
I
this and
love that. I love
right?
that. While you're
It's like
talking, I'm just like, I'm gonna go get a canvas right now because I have some paint that I get for my students. And like it doesn't matter because I really don't know how to draw, but I'm just gonna start like, but that I love how you said play the game instead of, like getting too serious about it. It doesn't matter what it's gonna end up looking like. I'm not gonna put it in the museum unless Michelangelo shows up. You never know. If he shows up,
he would be very supportive, I'm sure, right? You don't have to create the Sistine Chapel here. It's like that's what I mean. It's like it's about play. It's the same message. It's about play, it's about curiosity, it's about trust what comes to you. And it's fun to go, okay, so what color would you like me to use next? And so green pops into your head and you go, okay, I can do that. Like just play. And then you might find that what happens is after you've been playing for a while, like time goes really fast. And you get to the end and you just feel, it's like it's allowed the flow of energy to come through you. It's allowed your body to shift. It's allowed your emotions to move. You process when you bring and you're thinking, you're still thinking, stuff's still going on, and it comes out on the page. I even have a game called Dimensional Drawing, and it's like this is how I incorporate creativity. So dimensional drawing is I start with a script. We tune in first, always. Then we do a scribble with your eyes closed, non-dominant hand. Right. Who knows what it's going to look like, right? It goes, you open your eyes, you look at it. Your intuition will tell you. This is why it's not just about using your inner knowing. We'll look at it, and suddenly you will have a message. You'll have what I'm seeing in this is it's a bit like on the scribble. What I'm seeing is, and your intuition will show you where you're currently at and something that's been in the back of your mind, something you've been feeling that you didn't acknowledge, right? You'll see it in there, right? And then what we do is we go into interdimensionally. So it's a sort of a meditation that goes through the wormhole to it. They're all different. I do a whole lot of different ones, but one of them might go back, for example, to when you were a single cell before, like when you first came in as a spirit to the cell. When you remember that you're love, when you remember that you are a divine essence. And that's really healing. And so you actually sit in that space. And then we do some stuff there. And then we come back and you do another drawing, except this time your energy is completely different. Close your eyes, non-dominant hand, right? You open it and you go, oh my God, this is totally a different type of drawing. And the message is completely different too. It's like, that's how I use creativity. And like, when you realize that something has changed between the one drawing and the next, and no one has to be an artist to do it. So that's how one of the ways I use creativity
Mm.
and mix it in,
I
make it
love
fun.
it. And one of the things I'm telling my clients too is I don't care what your creativity is. Like, do you like crayons? Bust out the crayons like a little kid. Do you want to do, like, I had one client that couldn't think of anything. And then she's like, well, I really love restoring old furniture. I'm like, that's creative. That's great. Do it. Like, start painting furniture or, there's so many ways to tap into creativity. And I think people forget that. And then they get into their heads about, well, it has to look a certain way. No, it doesn't. Says who?
Right. I mean, I like coloring. I just, but now I am going to do it from scratch. But what I've done is, and you tell me, Jenny, if it's good. I've bought these books for color therapy, and then they have the like really fun designs and like very calming. And I would just like color, and I didn't care what, the animal's color had to be. It doesn't matter. I was just, choosing the color that looked fun to me. And
Perfect.
at the end it was like this wolf that has like pink eyes or green whatever, right? Because I
Love it.
didn't
I love it. I
care.
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is that good? Okay, I have to go get it.
Absolutely.
Is
And
that
that's
good?
like, 'cause that's like letting the boundaries down, right? It's
Not with
not having,
me.
it's like let the boundaries down. So you don't have to fit into what it's supposed to look like, you know.
And then can dancing be a creativity?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Absolutely.
somebody,
There's all kinds.
like creating the movements.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh my goodness. So creativity is, I mean, it can be like freaking doing crochet as well, right? That's creating something. So it does not have to be. I think sometimes when we hear about use your creativity, a lot of people go to painting and, like doing art, but it
Yes.
could be, creating something,
Like you said,
whatever,
woodwork,
different.
like restoring old
Woodwork.
furniture. Like,
Yeah,
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 Uh, It's a flow of energy.
it is.
It's a flow of energy. And
yeah.
you know when you're in it, like we are creative beings, everyone's got it.
Hmm.
It's not, you know, it's there for everyone. But as you say, it comes out in different ways. It
Well, and
comes out
my
in ways we
thing,
enjoy.
it does, and that's what I was gonna say, it gets you out of your head. I know you said that there's some thinking, but it does. Time can really go by and it gets you out of my head. When I'm doing art with my clients, I'm like, well, how's your stress level? And they're like, oh my, I wasn't even thinking about X, Y, Z. And there you go, because you were out of your
It's
head.
like, how are you using art then?
So I have a membership and we have weekly calls, and 1 week a month we're doing an art call. And so I'll just tell them, bring whatever you're inspired to bring, crayons, colored pencils, markers, don't care. Sometimes it's more like neurographic style art. Last time it was what's an emotion that's been eating at you, and they scribbled for 2 minutes, and then we intuitively picked colors. So it was just something to create. And honestly, I do the call based on my intuition and what I think the group needs. And they've been
Sounds
fun.
sounds fantastic.
I love that. I
I love
love
it.
Although
that.
I'm thinking Jenny needs to come in and teach an art lesson now.
She
I would love
should.
to
I
do that.
think she should. I think they'll love it.
We could do dimensional
So
drawing. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I know that I love that three-dimensional drawing. I definitely want to do that.
Hmm.
And I wonder what it's going to look like because that's true. I think the shadow is going to come out first, and then yeah. And then I just want to clarify some things. Tuning in, like when you said the number lines, it's also getting present in the moment, and that's why the number line works. Is that correct, Jenny?
Okay, so sorry, yeah, I'll just go back to that. So normally I get someone to tune in first, and the number line is the way to check that yes, you are tuned in. You're
Got it.
100%. What you did is, and now you, whatever comes next after this number line, you are accurate, right?
Okay.
Because accuracy is the thing, trust is the thing that everybody, of course, all of us, this is, even though
Yeah.
we're born with this natural ability, not many of us have had, including me. I wasn't brought up in a way that I was encouraged with that and that I learned to trust it when I was young. So I always have a starting point, which is tuning in. So, for example, there are lots of different ways. I'm trained in Qigong and so I use like a heaven and earth one. Um, I use heart coherence. So mix those together. So you've got like ancient stuff as well as modern. But I also use really simple ones as well. Like for example, it's a statement because words hold energy. Words are frequency, and they also mean something to us. So for example, I might say, "I am now empowered, enlightened, open and curious," and a few other things. And if you actually say those words, even in your head, and you sit with the frequency of them after you've said them, and then you check the number line, you'll find you're usually 100%. So that's one way that I find. And you could use the number line to check your own way of tuning in.
Got
So
it.
basically, what I'm doing is saying, make sure you're at 100% or make sure you're 10 out of 10 before you start.
Got it.
Because then you're more likely to go, okay, I'm here. I'm that's it. What comes next is accurate. And it
Great.
doesn't have to take long.
So, Jenny, how does intuition connect with quantum? Because we hear quantum all the time,
Mhm.
right? With
Yes.
quantum healing. And how can that combination help us shift old patterns that might be blocking our health and our well-being?
Yeah. So this is where it gets really interesting, right? And so for me, I've been doing quantum stuff for a very long time. And I think it's evolving our understanding of what about quantum science and what quantum means. And what I have discovered recently is a way that we use our intuition to tune in to the quantum field. Now, you, for those of like, you know about the Akashic records, you know about the quantum field, like what is that? That one, it's the one energy, right? It's the oneness. It's call it God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. We can, with our intuition, tune in to specific, very specific unconscious patterns that we're carrying in our field that have been there to protect us, to keep us safe, that are things we've experienced this life, or even, if you're open to it, to understanding that other in parallel lives. So not past or present, but parallel. And what that means is that often when we're having something, let's say we're having a recurring pattern happen, like maybe it's a recurring illness or a difficult situation or something where we're just finding we're really reacting or we've done a lot of things and it's not helping. Um, I have discovered that our intuition is the way that we can get access to those patterns and we can shift them really simply and change our frequency enough. It makes space in our energy for us to be different. And we don't know they're there. I mean, that's the nature of an unconscious pattern. So, and this is the thing that I found, and it's quite amazing. I can't even really explain how that how the change happens, even though it's like really simple. But what I've discovered is, for example, I was had someone the other day who was having panic attacks every day. And we did one session, and a week and a half later, she hadn't had any.
Wow.
Or, you know, someone else with a similar kind of thing was having, a lot of anxiety at work and this sort of that. And the next day, she was like just saying, I just feel like really peaceful. And this is like, for me, quite astounding. We know that we're powerful beings. We know that our heart intelligence is really powerful. And can do and it's sort of the gateway to it's this energy field that is the gateway to understanding ourselves more, to being able to tune into how we can heal ourselves and to get the messages that we didn't know were there. Am I explaining that? Ask me another question if I.
Yes, no, no, no. I was gonna ask you, is it the process that you used with me?
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, and that was really cool. And by the end of it, it was, calm. But yeah, things are
That's
calm.
great.
But I'm going through some things.
Yes.
But I
Mhm.
don't want to keep pointing the fingers at those things because you did mention something, and I forgot what you said. But it's that you said it's a pattern that keeps repeating, a difficulty that keeps repeating. How I'm responsible for that, right? So immediately when you were saying that, it popped in my mind an image of walking right now after we're done with this call
Right.
and just listening to my intuition regarding the difficult situations that keep occurring. I know there's a second party with
Yes.
that. However, I'm also responsible, but because I'm also part of the energetic experience.
Yes.
And so yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but it just like the minute you were talking about difficulty, I was like, oh my goodness, like I keep pointing at that person creating the difficulty, whereas I'm still bringing it into my
Yeah. Good on
field
Right.
you. It's sort of
and
like
affecting
understanding
it.
your being responsible. We're being responsible for our own feelings, being responsible for. how we're responding. And I think that's the thing that I've seen with this quantum healing. I call it quantum intuition healing because it's a combo of two, is that when we shift these unconscious patterns, it makes space for you to be able to respond differently. It doesn't make us be different. It takes away, because, when you think about it, like, we know we have unconscious memories, right? We know that things we've experienced as a child, that we make certain decisions at that point about life and about how we need to be safe or to protect ourselves, or, if we experience bullying or experiencing it, there's lots of things we've experienced. They stay in our field in order to protect us, in order to keep us safe, in order that, so whenever our body thinks that we are in a similar situation, because it doesn't know, it just knows you're feeling the same way, it will bring up this, whatever, you will feel like resistance. It'll feel like, you really reacting strongly to this. And it may seem quite natural. It may seem to you that responding this way is normal. Let me tell you, when you move those patterns, you will find that there actually is not. You've got more room now. You've got more room to be able to choose to be differently, because it's still, we have free will here. Like, we can work and have, divine intervention, if you like to call it. But it's still free will. We just need the space that we can then feel like we can choose to be different, choose to respond differently, and still something we have to choose.
And I'm going to say
Absolutely.
this goes back to Denise, we've talked about it, the collective conscious, and what you said in
Yeah.
the beginning, Jenny, too, of like everything that's happening in this world that everyone wants to point fingers at, take sides with, whatever, blame. We also have to look within. We're all individually contributing to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
then none of this just comes from wishing, right? And none of this comes from, reading the book and not doing anything about it, or even doing one session with you and not doing anything about it. It's
Mm.
constantly the practice. It's constantly I think we've mentioned this before, is when you are, raising the volume of your intuition up, and then the other noises down, right? But that requires the awareness and the practice. Like, with me realizing this while I'm talking to you, it could have taken me days, because I really was like, right now I was gonna, like, okay, I'm gonna call this one person I call every time, and I'm gonna talk about the situation. But I was like, no, wait a minute. I keep bringing evidence of this difficulty. Deal with it with your intuition
That's a
by
very good
walking,
point.
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah, that's it. See, that's your
Yeah.
awareness. Now,
Yes.
instead of, like, you've got, because before you might have had, like, whatever that strong emotion is, like,
Yeah.
it was like anger or whatever, right? That was there,
Yes.
so present before you had to do something, right? So that was your
Yes.
way of, like, getting it out.
Yes. Yes.
Now you have space to go, okay, wait a minute, wait a minute. I can see this now, right? And
Yes.
I've got room to respond differently. And that's wonderful. I mean, that is like, you get back in the driver's seat here. And this is where, how I see, even in psychology, like, I know we can change our thoughts and feelings, but we need to have it's almost like I can see how the two work together now. Once we remove the unconscious things, there's more ability to make those changes in our thoughts, in the way we're feeling about things. And that is going to result in exactly what we're talking about, which is what's inside, it's outside. And so you might even
Yes.
see people being able around you being able to respond differently too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're offering them the possibility that they can
Yeah.
also choose, if they want, to be different. It doesn't mean,
Right, right, right. But it's not you, but I'm not always saying that the difficult situation is coming because of that difficult person, right? So it is time, because we are, the divine is in us. It is, we can awaken that divine in us. So yeah, and that doesn't come, it comes from practice. I mean, Kira and I mean,
We say it every
it's
episode.
not just the
Practice.
practice. I know, and it's like, it's literally, it's just because I think we are so used to getting everything done tomorrow or today, or Amazon Prime everything. And even with the quantum happens, yes, but the quantum happens when you practice your awareness. So, yeah.
yep.
But we
I
just
just
like,
I'm I'm just so grateful that we're having all these. I see it as an evolvement. I'm so grateful we
Mhm.
have all these new kind of ways of that. I that was shown to me. It's not something I figured out. It was like you need to do this, like, and this is what you do. This, and I'm like, okay, let's give it a try, right? Let's see what happens. So, and for me, it's about living our life, that being open to, okay, so what's my guidance here? It's as simple as that. Like, and some people, if we really want to practice in a simple way, when I first started, I used to even do things like, and what am I having for breakfast today? Right? Just because it's fun, I'd be like, okay, because it's like, it's a simple way to tune in fast. You don't have to do it. You don't have to, but you don't have to eat what you're being told, what you're being advised, but it's a way to fine tune
Mm.
so that you can learn to trust. Yeah, I know when I get that message, that's what it feels like, or that's what it sounds like, or that's how I do it. Because that's also part of the practice is figuring out how do you receive those messages. Like for me, it's more about it's a knowing. I more get a knowing. I sometimes every now and then might hear something, but that's not my main sort of channel. You'd think I was an artist, I'd have visuals, but I don't really. I do, but they're not. They're more like in my mind's eye, not like visual. Some people get really. One of my friends is really visual. She sees stuff. So, how about you? I don't know. How do you
It's a knowing
receive?
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a knowing for me, and it's just words like thoughts. Like they just come
Yeah.
in. Like today, I woke
Yes.
up with that thought.
Yeah.
So, for me, it's a combination of the knowing and the thoughts. It's mainly thoughts because, like I don't know why. But yes, it's thoughts. Usually I do get like it's a combo because sometimes I do get visions or
Mm.
like like I don't know what you call it.
Um.
Like
Yeah.
Like a flash.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know what
oh
you're
yeah,
doing
like
over
it's
there,
like
Denise.
a flash of
whatever I'm
insight.
doing there.
Just waving heads, a flash of insight sort of thing, yeah? Something like that.
But sometimes it feels like I've lived it.
Like a flashback.
I wouldn't be surprised if you have.
Right, a flashback, a déjà vu.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but then I wonder,
That's
oh, I
foresight, right?
love that.
That's
Yeah,
foresight.
yeah, I wonder. I wonder.
Hmm.
I love how you said, I wonder. I was reading a book the other day. I know that, I don't know if you finished it, Kira, but I did, Abundantly Ever After. And she was interviewing somebody who mentioned, and I forgot his name, that he was talking about like the not knowing. He was like, starting to be okay with not knowing. Like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to eat
Mm-hmm.
for lunch. I don't know if I'm going
We don't
to
know anything.
whatever.
Yeah,
And
quite
then
right. Yeah.
Mm.
he became okay with the unknown. And then once you are okay with the unknown, you open up more your intuition because you're not in control. You're not
Mhm.
wanting to be in control. Because at the end of the day, we talk about it all the time, Kira and I. Like, you're truly not in control of things. So sometimes you have your day planned, everything is planned, and then one done.
Yeah, it's an illusion, isn't it?
It
I
is.
think we
It
learned that with
is.
I think we learned that through the COVID years, didn't we?
Mm.
Suddenly we realized we had no control. Like it was very interesting. Our whole lives completely like how we think things are going to go and when it's going to happen.
Yeah,
And yeah, I agree. Being okay with uncertainty, being okay with not knowing. It's a tricky one.
it is. But yeah, I think everyone needs to recognize that.
Mm.
People always want to control things. We have no control over anything, truly.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And
No,
sometimes God's like, ha 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 ha. I
I
tricked
think
you.
I reckon that
You thought you knew. You thought you knew, but then
yes.
your plan was all changed.
well, I always say
You
we have two certainties in life: taxes and death. That's it.
That's the one.
Well,
I think
some people live in the boonies and they don't pay
Yeah,
taxes.
maybe okay.
I think that's true. It applies as well here, like to me, that flexibility. If we think about it in its positive sense rather than not being uncertain, it's more about being flexible, isn't it?
Hmm.
That flexibility applies in using when we're working with our inner wisdom because it does ask us very often give messages about things we need to do differently and us being willing to do that, being willing to entertain the idea that I need to stop eating gluten for a week or 2 weeks, or just because the body's saying that's what I need. even if you don't know why. If you
Mhm.
go, well, how is that related to, like, yes, if
I
you
know.
look,
Sometimes we try to
right,
rationalize it. We're like, no,
but
no,
it's
no,
like,
you don't
and
know.
it's okay to try and understand. I still like to understand. That's that real rational part of me, right? But there are times when I have got messages and I've gone, well, that's what I'm going to do, and I don't know why. I don't figure, I can't understand. Like when um this previous book, well, I got the Game of Intuition. There was a previous book that I wrote with people in my Soul Circle, which is a group that's been running for many, many years. And I got a message, you need to write a book with your, and I was like, I don't know how to do that. How do you write a collaboration book? And so I did all this research on how to do it. And I was like, oh no, that's too hard. Like all this tax and this and that. No, I don't know how to. Then this friend of mine who I've known for a long time, um, put up a post saying that she's creating a series of collaborative books. Do I want to be in it? And I was like, my intuition was like, yeah, nah, yes, no. I was like, why is that yes, no? Like the answer was like yes and no. I was like, I do not know. This is where you get the information but don't know why. I was confused. I was like, okay, trust it. I'm a yes. So I said yes. And I said, oh, well, this book looks good. Then we got on the call and I told her that I'd had this like story about the message. And she said, well, actually, what about if we do your own book just with your people instead of you fitting in by yourself into one of these? I was like, so there I got the
Mm.
thing that I'd been guided to do. And she knew how to do it. She had all the skills. She knew how to set it up. She did all the stuff. And that's why it was yes, no. It's like, I'm a yes, but I'm a no to that book. Like I needed to say yes, even though it was actually a no to the offer that I'd had. That's what I mean about trust. It's like this is where the flexibility to go, I'm uncertain about how that's going to turn out. I'm uncertain about where I'm really going with this, but my guidance is a yes. So that's what I'm going to do.
And that's when we get the best results in life and in health, is when we trust. And I won't go into my stories, but I've had many. And Denise, I'm sure you have too, where I've just let go and trusted. I'm like, well, that worked out better than I expected.
Yeah, fantastic.
Absolutely. And I feel when you force it, it just,
Doesn't work out.
it
Well,
sure doesn't. It sure does not.
she's like, no. Um, Jenny, I know you have a free video series. Will you tell us what that is?
We
And
do,
guys,
I
this
do.
will go in the show notes, but
Yeah. So I've got a freebie called Activate Your Inner Healer. And it's actually designed specifically for people who are pretty much, you're intuitive, but maybe you've got, something physical going on, some sort of symptoms going on, maybe a diagnosis, maybe something quite challenging, and maybe feeling like overwhelmed with it, anxious, and I know that even the most intuitive of us faced with a difficult situation can find it difficult to tune in. So it's sort of designed for anybody going through something like that, or it doesn't matter what it is, it can be any kind of situation and you're finding it hard to tune in. And so that's who it's for. And what it does is it's 3 videos. One is the tuning in one that I use. That it's the more longer version one. That's the more heavy duty, right? So that you really know you're connected and grounded. That's the first one. The second one is the number line, how to check. So once you know how to do that, you only need to see it once, you'll know what to do. And the third one is a game, and that's actually the intuition message bank game.
awesome.
So I'll actually take you through it so that you've got the idea and we've got, guidance for it so that you can actually get some practical answers. You can get some practical next steps. So it's as simple as that.
Awesome.
So,
Well, Denise, any final
We
thoughts,
are
questions?
reaching our end. I know. Any final thoughts, Jenny, that you would like? We always ask the person we're interviewing, are some final thoughts maybe that we maybe didn't cover or that you want to leave our listeners with, or maybe one, a small thing that they can do for themselves or start.
We're putting you on
good
the spot
question.
here.
Yeah, I think I just want to reiterate, your symptoms are messages.
Mhm.
Listen to your body. If something's going on, listen, use your intuition to figure it out, not just your head. Right? Listen to your body and go, okay, I've got these are messages. What's it saying? and start to go within to get your next steps. Even if you're working with them in the medical system, you understand that your body is not just a physical thing. You're not just a physical being. You're an emotional, mental, spiritual, and every other quantum being. So I'll say, contemplate that you are more than just the physical, and so you can do healing at all the levels to make it more permanent, and you know you can finish the story with it. That's it.
Yes.
Help your body,
Awesome.
help your
Thank you
body heal
so
itself.
much, Jenny.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you, thank you,
you.
thank you. And I know I enjoyed my session with you. So if someone is
Me too.
interested, we'll definitely keep, I know, yeah, Kira did too. So we'll definitely put
Oh,
all
good.
of your information in the show notes. Please, as usual, send this to one friend that might need this, or two or three. And thank you so much for tuning in. We love the reviews, so make sure that you leave us reviews with words, not just 5 stars, and let us know if there are any topics that you want us to cover or any people that you want us to interview. We would love to listen, and we love your feedback. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you at the next episode.